Hi, welcome to episode 2 of Mindustry. This is actually a continuation of part 1. I recorded them all as one session, but I figured it would probably be nice to do at least a little bit of an intro piece before you lead into episode 2. So here it is, episode 2. So you see we have a full map here of stuff we can do. So what we can do now is we can either go from ground zero, which is where we just were, to either a new map, frozen forest, or we can start actually claiming the land around us. And the goal is to have claimed the entire planet by, and then after you do that, I believe it gives you the supplies to fly to this planet. Oh, you can just switch this planet whenever you want. Yeah. This planet's locked right now. I believe. Oh no, here it is. The onset. Yeah. This is the second planet they made. So when they first built the game, they only had this planet, very basic stuff. Over time, they've grown and changed. I really like this game. So you can tell. I'm sure you could tell that I really like this game. But yeah. So I think we're not going to try to expand out. We're going to actually just move on to Frozen Forest. Frozen Forest is going to give us some more stuff, and then I'll kind of do like a montage thing of claiming some of the land outside of it. If anything crazy happens, I'll pop it up. But what you'll see is that there's actually a line from ground zero to Frozen Forest here. What that means is all those resources we collected at ground zero, we could actually transfer those here over to the Frozen Forest. And what we can do is we can actually customize how much of each gets sent over. I'm going to set scrap to 0 because we don't really need it. But what this does is it takes 1,000 copper and 8,000 lead to build the core on the planet. When it drops down, it takes that much to build it. So what this is saying is, hey, it's going to take 8,000 plus 800 plus the 1,000. So we're automatically taking that out of your reserves, but also we're going to get, you can take 2,000 of each as well. Now, if I come into here, I can actually increase that amount. I can't actually increase it right now, but because I don't have that higher tier thing, the higher tier core. But what I can do, you can play around with the numbers here if you feel you need more, need less. Cancel. What you saw me actually do with the ancient debris, I can increase that to as much as we had, or I can decrease it all the way down. Or you can just click max, and it'll give you the maximum amount of what you have. So there's that, and then we are actually going to launch into the Frozen Forest. It says launching from ground zero. That's correct. What you see me do a few times, which I may end up cutting out, may not, is when I launch from different areas, I will actually go back to ground zero or a previous save that had a ton of resources, and then I will launch into there, and then from that you can slowly start building up more and more materials. I think we're probably going to do Frozen Forest, and then I'll kind of call it, but you can see the core takes off from here, and it lands in the Frozen Forest. Frozen Forest is this little special little place. Take you on a little tour here. Right up here, I believe, enemies spawn, and this is where we really start getting into channeling, which is what I'll refer to it as. So essentially, what you want to do is set up a route that gives you easy access to all of this stuff, all of these materials and stuff. You'll also see we have a new material. We have coal now, and since we're in a new level, it does not have that waiting time. When you launch into a new level, you're going to have about 5 minutes before the first wave hits. That's usually why when I launch into it, I will freeze time, just kind of look around. I haven't played this in a long time, so we'll have to see. But when you fly, you can go over everything, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to stick to paths. But when you get close to it, the circle appears. Now, I wanted to double check because in some levels there are multiple enemy spawn points. But now that I know it's only this one, I can plan accordingly. So what I'm most likely going to do is I'm going to have them kind of go down the route this way. And I'm going to leave it mostly open to my core, which is very dangerous, very tricky way to play it. But you want to be... Your goal is to be setting yourself up to where if they start like trying to come through and attacking, they're going to start going through that route. So the big thing you want to do right now is you're going to want to set up these walls here, which is not super advantageous to us right now, but what you want to do is put as many walls in place through here as possible, and then fill in the rest with this, which I will show you channeling. We probably won't actually have to do any channeling for this level. It's still it's only the second level, so we probably won't have to do any channeling. Probably just be able to kind of keep them in this area. But what we want to be doing right now is setting up air defenses here and here, because air defenses are going to be really helpful to us there. We want to be setting up an air defense up in here, and then we want to be filling this area with as many ground turns as physically possible. Because once we get those ground turns in place, then we set up just like quick walls here. Set up like one or two, like 1, 2 layers of walls. And you put like a thin one behind it. And then you just go like 3. Yeah, we got enough. So what we're gonna do here is very close quarters routering. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go router here, router here, just like we did in the last one. But we want to be setting this one up super tight, because see how we're making use of as much space in here as possible, and we have the same setup essentially. But what we want to be doing is having a way for us to pull this router back. And see, now we have this bridge. I can just go like this. And then when you're building in a line, you can actually rotate the direction of the build. So we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna put a router on here. Oh no, that's what it is. So you see how our routers, you remember how our routers work, right? Which is that your routers have to be split before you can actually run them, because your routers have to feed in through the bottom and then split through the sides. So that makes it a little more difficult, but I promise you it is well worth it to have a full defense set up here, which is fine because we do have plenty of room in this level. But the best part is we're going to try to use as little of it as possible. We're going to do a line coming up out of here. And now you see that I'm building it like this. And my goal here is to run these lines like little snakes. Over to about here. Let's see. Now what we want to do is set up a way for us to do a split. I think there's a way to set up this in the most advantageous way, and I'm trying to remember it here. I'll probably cut back when I have this full. This is just going to take a little bit. I will cut back when this is fully. Hey, so Just to prove to you that not everybody knows everything, I just remembered routers actually don't, it doesn't actually matter which input you do for a router. The reason I got caught up in that is I completely forgot. I actually completely forgot about that. There are certain blocks that are very specific, like I showed you with, I believe it's the sorter. No, the overflow gate is the best example. This one does specifically say only outputs items to the left and right if front is blocked, so you have to insert from the bottom. But I did go back and look at the router, and the router says nothing about that. So I tried to, so I went through and implemented that into here. Now, the speed at which it's producing copper is not very fast. So what I want to do is try to hook this copper in really quickly before the round starts. So what we're going to do is set up this like I showed you before. I'm going to kind of do it in paths. Not the most efficient way to do it, but it keeps me from getting a freaking headache. And then we're just going to use another bridge just because we can. And then up to here, just to flex on those people that don't have it. And then what we're going to do is build up. You know what? We'll build across and do another bridge. One thing to be careful about with bridges, though, the input here will pull from any side, and the output will output to any of these sides. So if you're going to do it, what I recommend is if you're running a, if you're going to run a bridge like this, and you're going to have a conveyor belt leading into it and a conveyor belt here and here, what I recommend is actually taking a sorter, or a junction, I'm sorry, and putting it here and here and here and here. So you'll get one or two items actually trapped in this, but it will not be pouring out into your conveyor belts on either side. I found in later levels and stuff that works exceptionally well. And now we have a ton of things just funneling into these. We're getting a backlog on these, which is great. That is great news to hear. And so what we are going to want to start trying to do is just particle effects. What we're going to actually start doing now is we are going to come down to here. We're actually just going to... These resources can be deconstructed for resources. Yep. So what we're going to actually do is we're going to deconstruct all of this. Now, you may notice that these drills look a little bit different than the drills we have right now. That is because they are called pneumatic drills. They have a faster digging speed, but they require lead to be built. So we have to be, that's why lead and copper are so important. We need to be having both of them. And now you've noticed, I actually... That's weird. Why are we getting ancient... Oh, it's because we're turning this apart. Stupid moment on my half. So when you deconstruct things, the parts will actually go directly back to the base, but when you mine things, the parts will not. You'll notice that we have only 300 of the 2,000 we arrived with. We're gonna actually run up here real quick and look at this battle. See if I can have this set up the right way. They should be targeting this wall and not come anywhere, and just kind of turn to this one a little bit and like fire at it, but just keep walking straight past. So what we've done is, so their pathfinding will look for a section that has the shortest amount of walls they have to break before they can get to it. They're gonna look at this, say that's short, and all they have to do is break this wall, this wall, this wall, and then these turns. They can actually just walk right over top of these conveyor belts. So it's one of the big guys to start out. Remember I said you're gonna start out with some big guys and then it'll fall back into the smaller ones. Yep. See? He just walked right past that, fired a few shots at it, and just kept walking past. Yep, there we go. Worked just as planned. Alright, so what we're gonna want to do now is we're going to, you see how we have all of the rest of this? All of it needs to be wired up and sent directly back to the base. So what you'll notice a lot too is, and we're just going to head back to base real quick so I can explain this a little easier. You'll notice that a lot of times you're going to have a small patch of lead and a small patch of copper over by your base. So we're actually going to dip into the research tree here. I'm going to look and see if we can unlock some stuff. Okay. So before we build anything, in case we can unlock the pneumatic drills, so what I'm going to do is set these up on here, and then one more just on the edge. And what they typically would want you to do is set this up first. Some sort of thing that is pulling copper from the ground. Set up a secondary one over here on the lead. This is the reason that you'll see this a lot on a lot of the starts of the levels. You'll see this. You'll see it there so that it's easy access to these. Easily you can build it behind some walls. You can easily kind of build behind some walls here, armor it up, defend it, and still have copper and lead so that you can build, because everything does take copper and lead. So you want to be having like a steady source of it. I didn't focus on that first because I knew we could easily get that set up with the amount that we had. But then with the coal here, there we are. Now we finally reached the end of our copper here. Just waiting for more to pile in. And what we're gonna do now is we're gonna start building our conveyor belts. Coal is not gonna be, coal is a relatively good resource to have. Oh, I will show you this as well real quick. If you do want to build something right next to a bunch of these drills, you could actually put a layer of junctions, then your conveyor belt, and you will notice now, instead of it hooking into these drills, we're only getting coal coming out of that, which is great to see, because we do not want to be having copper mix into that, even though we are at a lower amount of it, coal coming out right now. When we get up to higher amounts, you kind of don't want a lot of your resources, mixing in certain spots. Right now, we just want the coal to be pure coal coming through this conveyor belt, simply because we don't have that fast at conveyor belts, but also because we want to be focusing on getting a lot of it, so we can start working on more upgrades, which coal going in there is great to start on that. Let's see here. We're gonna set up drills across here on the lead. Less than optimal drill placement, I know. There's still a lot of stuff I have to figure out, but, you know, I figured this would be a good kind of confidence booster for me to work on something that's just kind of uniquely me. But I hope so far what you've seen you like. But let's keep going here. I'm gonna bridge this across. Actually, speaking of bridges, we're actually gonna build one across here and then kind of drop it down a little bit here, I believe. This will make it, should have dropped it that low. Oh well. What we're trying to do is leave a lot of access points for us to get to everything without having to set up like 300 junctions, for all of our supplies to be very easily able for us to get them back to base. Because our main goal right now is trying to get our base where it's just constantly getting resources. You'll also notice sometimes when I build, especially when it comes to walls and stuff, I will actually move my character very far away from the material, so that it will only focus on building things like the turrets or the paths and stuff. Because to me, the walls can be built, but I need something that's. But if I have only the walls built and I don't have anything else built, then at that point I'm just a sitting duck. You know what I mean? So these are still producing good. Let's see, another lead deposit here. Some of these smaller ones typically I'll skip over, but because I'm kind of doing this series, I'll just kind of work them in there to my pathways. Especially since you have, especially with a bunch of like smaller ones. If you have a bunch of ones that are only like a few miners onto them, like this one as well, you can actually link them on in your conveyor belt system. I find makes it a lot more convenient. So then you only have like one or two little pathways, which I almost ran over this copper deposit here, which would not have been good. So what we're going to do is bring that up a little bit and over. And then we're going to actually bring this one down. And you'll see, like I always say, I have very suboptimal conveyor belt placement. But, you know. Also, I'm still a little rusty on this. This is my first time playing in a good while. So, but I figured, you know, I played in a while. What would it hurt to do a little bit of fun? We're going to get this conveyor belt. We're actually going to bring it over, and we're going to actually combine it with this copper as well. So you can see here, you can actually now build this bridge across here. And now we have a more centralized point. Let those build out some. Alright, we're on wave 4. See, we don't even have to worry about the waves right now. Until it starts getting a little more intense, then we will kind of start focusing on it. Just when you're playing, do come back, keep an eye on it. Like, this is about to break here, so you're just going to want to make sure you re-up it. You just want to keep re-upping things, making sure everything's still staying, making sure everything is staying good condition. You don't want something to have happened and it take your entire defenses out of commission and not realize it until like one of the enemies comes from up top and is at your core. I've had that happen several times when I first started playing. We're gonna bring this down to here. And we're gonna do another drop spot down to here. Cross one more time. Down 2, put us right over top of that. And we bring it drop down to right there. And now we have another line of these. It's going to be a relatively split thing here. So it's the input is kind of spreading out across both of them, which is kind of what we want here. We're actually going to take the conveyor belts here and feed them across. It's going to give us a more even split. Actually going to do. So if you have conveyor belts that actually feed into 2 conveyor belts that kind of feed like this, it will automatically start sorting them back and forth, which is great, which is what we want right now, especially with having both that copper input and that lead input into that area. So we have another large coal, so we're probably going to want it to have its own pathway back. So what we're going to do is drag it down to here. We're going to do a junction across there, and then we're going to bring this down as well. The best thing to do with these networks is kind of keep them, when they get back to base, keep them concise. You don't want a huge amount of like, you don't want a huge amount of like mess in this area specifically, because you want to be able to easily just funnel straight in. So you want to have a lot of straight lines going directly in, make it a lot easier for management later on. What we actually have here, which could work great, is we have a small deposit here of lead from where we took out those old ruins. So what we're going to do now is we're going to set up conveyor belts. We're actually just going to hook it into this system we have right here, because that one is a Not a huge system, not necessarily a smaller one, as small as I would like it. Uh, not necessarily as small as I typically would hook it into the system like that, but it is small enough to where I feel it won't hinder too much the resources coming back. Now, we've kind of tapped into a few of the copper ones there. The big thing we always want to be tapping into, you always want to tap into the new resource. Right? See? They didn't come up here and check that for a little bit. They've already kind of blown a hole through here. Now, that would have been really, really bad if they had gotten through this block here, because then they would have had direct access to our line right now. And you'll see that the blueprints show that actually these were broken before the last round. So what we're gonna want to do is make sure that you gotta always stay on top of these, at least until we can start getting the rebuilders or the healers or whatever the rehealers or whatever they're called. Until we can get those, we gotta always stay on top of this. Your main goal is always to keep yourself as highly defensed as possible. I'm actually going to add another layer to this, seeing as how far they got in with only two rounds. But once I do that, I'm going to actually hit the skip wave button. I'm going to let them come in, and I'm going to just see how our defense is looking. Okay, so we're still not in big waves, and too big of a wave yet. It's just two of the larger guys and then two of the smaller guys. Oh, they shot me. I didn't realize. Alright, so it looks like they took out the two smaller guys. Alright, and they just took out the two bigger guys. So when the bigger guys go down, they actually do have a large explosion, I believe. Actually, I'm not 100 on that, so don't quote me on it. But they do have more of a long-range attack. So that's something we need to be keeping an eye on. But now that we have a good amount of coal, I'm going to start finalizing up finishing touches on this wall, on rebuilding the wall here. And then we're going to actually go into the tech tree again and see what we can find. So we actually have a graphite press, which is great. Graphite press, we're getting more into production, and we have a combustion engine leading to power nodes. Here it is. So this is the mender, and we'll do batteries as well. Those will really help. That's a surprise tool that'll help us later. Now, let's see. We'll do the silicon smelter, and the pyrite mixer. We'll just dump the rest of our copper into those. We have 1.5k left on that one and 100 left on the other one. So, we just got a large influx of stuff. I will explain it as best I can. Ooh, I should not have dumped all of our copper. Oh, we got like a minute 30. We'll be fine. So with a lot of our influxes here, our influxes of new tools, I'm gonna actually show you the simple ways to integrate the power stuff. You see, we have a lot more of these little things now. So actually, we don't have the new drill yet. We have power. So what we're going to start doing is working on this power node system. So so you see it has this little ring around it. So what we're going to want to do is put it over by the coal. I'll explain why in a little bit. And you're just going to want to make sure that all of your sections are connected. Once you start leaving you got to make sure all your sections are connected. We're going to actually run this up to our defense wall. And then I will show you how to best integrate like menders into best integrate your menders into your defense walls. It makes life a lot easier with them. I'll say it like that. That one will be connected as well. And from here, yeah, we'll just do one more right here just to extend the range a little bit. And then we're going to actually go into mender. We're going to actually... Oh, these are the small menders. Okay, that's perfect then. So what we're going to do is remove this piece and this piece right here. And then one here, one here. What those are actually going to do now And they're not going to do it yet because we don't have power set up. But these are actually going to slowly, over time, reheal our walls. So we're going to actually set up our power now. So this is what I will do. What I do with these is I will set it up like this. Kinda. Let's see. Best way to do this is like that. And then what we're going to do now is we're going to actually go to the combustion generators, and we're going to place one so that's at least, so it's every one of them gets contacted by at least one generator. Now see, actually I blocked this one in, which is not good. So what we're going to do, because we have access to it there, is we're going to shift that one up so we can put another combustion generator here. And so what we want to be doing is having a point of access with every single one of these. So now we're going to actually grab another power node, set one here, set one here, set one here. And now, once this is built, we're going to slowly start generating power, because these are combustion engines. So what they're doing is they're directly interfacing with there we go. So now everything is hooked into the one central system. That's hooked in there, hooked in there, perfect. So now we are producing an amount of power. These are, you can see these are actually slowly healing. So what we're gonna do is throw that back in place, that back in place. Both of these, both of these. And now that we have these on healing duty, kind of working overtime to make sure this is all protected, the only block we should ever have to replace now is this one. Which will make it a lot easier on us to try to get this done. So what I was thinking of these are actually tier 2 menders. The tier 2 menders actually have a more of a, give me a second to think of what I'm saying. They have a wider radius, and they're also a 2x2 block. So it really comes down to where can you implement them the best. So I could actually put a mender here instead of this block. The menders actually have more, I believe they have more power than the single wall. They do cost a lot more, which is the more important thing. But that wouldn't be beneficial to us because of the radius. I do not believe, because of the radius, I don't think it would reach that little block. I think, why not check? We do have a minute, so we have to be moving quick on this. Bonk to bonk. Now here's the other thing to check. Is it going to hook into this? So, it's actually not hooking into our power system that we already have, because I underestimated its distance. I overestimated its distance, or underestimated the distance that it has from this. So, we're actually going to remove it and then replace that with a wall. Because it's not doing us any good, and we could probably use those elsewhere. So, real quick crash course on some of these. We're actually going to build a few batteries as well, just to give a good example. Batteries. Let's do a few of these. So now that we have a little power system, I will explain I'll fully be able to explain through it. And then also, what does this need? Graphite needs, it's lead and coal. Yep. Alrighty. We'll get to that in a second. That's a factory block. Factory blocks are a little more complicated. So with power grids come factory blocks, and with factory blocks come power grids. They're two and the same. So what we're going to want to do is explain that first. So we have a bunch of mechanical drills here. All of them are pulling coal, as you all know. Since these are all pulling coal, they are going directly into combustion generators. The combustion generators are making a power output. That power output is being split now into these battery packs, which I am charging just in case we need extra battery, and up here to the menders. The menders are now working overtime, you can see, to kind of keep these blocks relatively healed. We may need to join into the fight here. Nope, they got him. Alright. So that was a little close for comfort for me. So what I'm going to do now, build that and that. 2 here. Rebuild this. Rebuild that. And then, where's the circle? The circle's back there. So we're actually going to put a secondary set of walls here. So this isn't nearly as many layers as this one. So it should necessarily be still in the right place here. These will have to be manually replaced though. Unless I set this up correctly. Let's see. So if I shift this to here and that to there. I don't like having to do this, but I have to. So I can put a power node here that'll reach. Actually, wait a second. Let's play around this for a second. We're about to have another wave in 30 seconds. If I put a power node here, it connects to that. So then I can put a mender here, and it covers pretty much everything. Yeah, perfect. Let me fill in that. There we go. So now all of this is fully healing. So we will come back and check on that in a little bit. So what we're gonna do down here now, that's a large coal, so we can probably pull some off of it, and then do a splitter and pull some off of that as well. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna do once I find it, we're gonna do a router here and a router here. And what we're going to do is we're going to grab conveyor belts. And we are going to start playing around with some graphite. Graphite is a big tool right in the game. Which is why I want to get this factory block set up. Now here's the question, does it require power? Some of them do, some of them don't. Incapacity 10. Build time is 97 seconds. No, it actually does not require power. Okay. So what we can do then, in that case, is we can actually set up 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to actually do routers off of these. We're going to set up more routers off of these things that we already have set up. So we're going to put a router here. We're going to change the directory on these. Just go straight down. We're going to put a router here. And we're going to go conveyor belt off of that to there. Conveyor belt over here to there. Junction box here. We're going to put a conveyor belt that actually connects into that one. Junction box because, whoop, a little too far with that one. Arts and crafts is not my specialty. That's hooked up, that's hooked up. We'll put that to there. And then this router will go. Give me half a second here. Does it make more sense to do that? Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to put a junction here and a junction here. So this is currently going straight down. If I put a junction here and here, grab these from here, and I pull that out, grab this, I pull it out, down, then I pull this out from here, and across. Put that down. Put these down. Junction box here and here. Then I believe I have 3 functional graphite things. Yep. Alright. It's time to explain my really confusing situation I just did. So, one, the router here will grab coal, send it to here, down into here, and then across into here. Lead will come in from here, router across into this one, across into this one, and down into this one. So there we go. I think. Actually, I should set up a bridge across here. So we're gonna do a bridge conveyor across here. We're gonna do my junction method I was talking about earlier. So there's that. Okay, so I don't want that connection. Alright, so we're not going to do a bridge conveyor there. Alright, then we're going to go down to there, and we'll just stick with it like that. We have our lead coming in at about the same rate as our coal, and we know that at least 2 of them will continue to work even with a backlog. So that's good news. Alrighty. Let's see. So we're gonna actually take these 3 outputs, wrap them all up, down across. And remember, we want to set this up to run as efficiently as possible here. So jump here, go across, up, over, up again. Jump, jump, down, jump, jump. There we go. Woo! Thought we were gonna have to rework the whole system there. And then across and down. And there we go. Now we have graphite coming directly into the base. Now we're gonna check this. Ooh, goodness. Alright, so I think my hypothesis might have been wrong. That those have more stuff. Download vendor. There. My hypothesis may have been wrong, but it's going to get us through this end piece right here. So, see, all of these still have firing access to that. So you may be going, okay, well, if you have all that set up, and all of these are all pretty much hooked up, with the exception of this lead one, which I probably won't hook up, then what else do you have left? I go, well, nothing really. Just kind of waiting for the waves to get done, which is why I'm very happy this button exists. So now you see, these guys have spawned in. I can actually just join in and just fire at them. Help out my currents and such. Oh, what? Oh, that's awesome. See, you learn something new every day. So if you hold down B and you drag across everything that's destroyed, it will automatically just replace everything. That's pretty cool. I like that. Alright. I think what we will do, though, is we will move this block. We're gonna remove these two feathers. That there, because that's putting too much weakness towards that top area. And then put another power node here, along with that large copper wall back there. Because right now they're coming in and they're hitting this strip, and they're jumping down to here, which is not something we want them to do. Something else we could be doing to really set us up. Now that we have graphite coming in, we can actually look at our research tree and see what else we can get. Oh, we can also get the pyrite mixer, which won't be handy to us just yet, so I won't fully explain it. And the silicon smelter, which I don't think is helpful to us yet either. The thing is, though, is we will actually probably after this, we will go back to, we'll probably go back to the previous world, and then after that we will, after we go back to the previous world, I'll show you how to set up the silicon smelter, and then we'll just finish through these waves real quick. I'll probably do it as a time lapse, and then we will be right back. Alright, so we just beat the 15th level. I did a little bit of a rework to our turret system here. Level 13, one of them got through, so I just want to do a touch up and actually rebuild those walls just for posterity's sake. This is a good example of that tunneling. It's much smaller than what I usually do, but so essentially they come down this path here. They're gonna say, oh, their path is gonna go, that's a lot of wall in the way here, that's a lot of wall in the way here. They'll still do some attacks to them, as you can tell, but once they'll kind of like walk their way through here. Another good way to do tunneling is to put some blocks down here. If you can get them to file through like an upper section that's like really thin, then you can line that very easily with a lot of turrets if you have more room, of course, than I have right now. So you can line that area with turrets better and just kind of like slowly pick them off. This design here is something I haven't looked at any fan creations, but it's something that I thought was a good idea. It works pretty well. If you got like we have a large supply of copper that gets funneled into it. It has of course the two funnels, and then it has the routers here. These are all routers, and then the turrets on either side of them. And then you put 3 menders to where they can pretty much heal all of the turrets, with the exception of, I believe, the one at the very top right here, and I believe this one, aren't actually in mending range. If we had the bigger menders, I could put a mender down, cover all of it. So that's pretty much how this works. You're just kind of slowly clearing out sections. You're getting more materials. You can see my lead and my coal are actually both full right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut this line right here and switch that to where all that coal actually directly routes into the production of graphite. Because your graphite presses, I believe, let me double check before I say anything, before I put my foot in my mouth, you know. Your graphite press, yeah, it takes, oh, it only takes coal. Well, that is embarrassing. I must be thinking of the silicone. Yeah, you input coal and sand. Well, that is embarrassing. I am very sorry about that. I can just clean all that up. Hope that would have been nice. I could have made this not as much of a freaking mess. Then we just do that. Then I can just over, down, over, down, and straight down. There we go. Graphite just increased production. Part of me was saying that I need lead. I don't remember what. Weird. Oh well. We're getting a good graphite production. We could actually... It takes 2 per, and these are producing at a relatively quick speed. What we could do is that, clean up that, and then what we can actually do is put a router here, and router here. Then we go here to graphite presses. Put one there, one there, one there, one there, one there, one there. Okay. So then put that router will go here, and this router will go here. So now what we can do is we can run this down into there and that. This one can come over here, go down to there, and that. This one can actually go over to the router. Okay. And then over from the router down in here. Oop. Now that's going to be a bit of a problem. So graphite. All of it like down into here. Okay. So we're going to remove all of these. So right now what I'm just doing is I'm just kind of trying to feel out how we can lay this out. So actually what we could do is if we move this all just down one level, we have to delete all the tiles with graphite on it, which sucks. You know, that's the way it is. Boom, 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 boom. That over. Just delete that one, and that one. Boop. Well, there we are. That is how you make your graphite way more efficient. But, alright, so now that we have a large amount of graphite going through our system, let's look and see what we can research. Oh, we can get the Scorch. Perfect. So the Scorch, what materials does the Scorch take? Oh, so you can put coal or pyrite into it. Pyrite doubles the amount you have, and it also, more than doubles the burning time. But essentially, this is just a flamethrower, a really good flamethrower. But it also lets me unlock the arc, which is perfect. The arc, you'll see me use a lot of. Here, the pneumatic drill just unlocked. We are going to wait for that graphite to build up before we do that, though. It takes graphite to build. That's what I was thinking. It doesn't take lead, it takes graphite. Yeah, and I guess we could just use... just delete this thing here. Actually, just delete that. This. Just run down, over, down. Over here. Down to here and then over. Oh, now we have that lead going directly in, not interfering with copper. That means we can build a thing over this. This is all just after game stuff. You don't actually have to super do this stuff, but it helps when later on you're going to be launching from different locations. It just helps to have some stuff pre-established here. That'll just give you some materials so that you don't have to worry about where you're launching from. Like if I wanted to launch with like a certain amount of coal, then I would have to figure that out. We may actually turn this coal, because we won't super need coal, we will need graphite. We can actually turn that into graphite. Put a router here. Out, down, there. That's even more graphite production by times, which is never a bad thing. There we go. And then I will show you just really quickly. So how these all require coal. I can take an arc and just place it down. They just hook right into the power supply. Now we have weapons that don't take any ammo with the exception of... needing power. Of course, you can run liquid to them to make them faster. They do 20 damage. They only target the ground, which is what makes them weaker than the copper turrets, but they do good damage. I believe the copper turrets themselves, they only cost 35, but they only do 9 damage when you run copper through them, which is not very good. These do 20. So the thing is, you got to have a power grid set up, and we have that set up. So just important to keep an eye on different things you want to figure out. Plus, these have a little wider range, which is also a good thing. What I'll actually do is I will move that, and then let's replace this. And you may be going, well, Tyler, why are you armoring yourself up? You've already beat all the rounds. Well, there is a mechanic in the game. I don't know if it's until later that it actually activates, but there's a mechanic in the game in which enemies can attack sectors you've already collected, and you just have to go back and you have to re-defend them. So I just want to make sure that we have a setup kind of defense system. You'll see me kind of go back and rehash defense systems in older levels as well sometimes. But I think all this graphite production and stuff, we're going to purchase a pneumatic drill. Yep, there's nothing else to unlock. We're going to get the pneumatic drill, and I think this is where we're going to end it. So this was... depending on whether or not I cut this into 2 episodes, which most likely I probably will, this was episode 2 of Mindustry. I hope you guys enjoyed the content. I want to try to produce more solo stuff. I love Chris, I love Logan, but I don't want to constantly be leaning on them to be helping me with content. It's nice to have a series where I just kind of sit back and I'm more like talking to you guys, showing you like games that I'm really interested in. Like this is one of my all-time favorite games. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it so far. I haven't gotten to editing yet, but and I hope you guys enjoyed watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.